Many men share the same problem. They talk to attractive women, they see that those women seem to be interested in them, but in the end, they always disappear. I mean, the women. And this happens, for example, at work. If you chat with a woman and you think like, oh, it looks like she likes me, but she never wants to go on a date with you. Or maybe you're chatting online and you see that the woman starts to get more and more bored and finally she just doesn't answer you. Or maybe you even go on a date with a woman, but she loses interest after 1 or 2 dates and doesn't respond to you after that. It sucks, I know, and that's why in this video I will tell you why this happens and how you should interact with women in order to make them feel more and more interested towards you. Okay, so to create real attraction and make a woman want to have sex and fall in love with you, you need to lead her through 3 main stages. Stage number 1 is building emotional connection and trust. And I will cover this topic in this video entirely so you understand the main things that matter most when you are building emotional connection with a woman. The second step is to show your attractive traits in a way that makes a woman think, oh, that's a really interesting man. Because many men start bragging and it doesn't work at all. So okay, later on I will tell you how to show your interest, your main cool traits that make a woman be interested in you and fall in love. And the third step is to turn up the chemistry, because if we look at us and women, we can see a big major difference here. We are driven by the women's appearance. If she's beautiful, we want her, but women do not fall in love and do not want a man sexually just by the way, just seeing how he looks, because they are more attracted by the personality of the man and by which emotions they feel while talking, while interacting with him. Okay, so let's move on and discuss what exactly you should do on a date, or even when you're chatting with a woman, or maybe talking to her somewhere like at your working place or something. So the first thing, the main rule that you should remember is you should never let a woman lead the conversation, because if you let her lead the conversation, you will always end up talking about her problems, something that disturbs her, or okay, you will never be able to lead her through these 3 stages that I have just mentioned. And in order to make your interactions be successful, you need to be the one who leads the conversation, who chooses the topics, who changes the conversation from one topic to another. And I will help you understand which topics are the best to create a quick emotional bond and trust between you two. Okay, let's move on. So how to build an emotional connection with a woman? Most guys make one severe mistake. They just ask facts and share facts about themselves, but facts do not evoke emotions. For example, a guy might ask a woman, what do you do? And she answers, I'm a designer. And he says, cool, yeah. And this is just sharing facts. This has nothing to do with emotional bond and building trust. What is a much better way to discuss even this topic? At the beginning you might ask this question, what do you do? And she answers, I'm a designer. But instead of just saying something like, yeah, okay, or okay, and I'm a programmer or something like this, you should say something that builds a picture, like a little flirty picture in her mind. For example, you can say something like, oh, a designer, that's cool. I can totally imagine you focused, stylish, maybe in glasses and with a pen touching your lips, and you're thinking like, okay, what should I do next? By the way, do you like your work? This is a very important question. Do you like your work? Why is it so important? Because if you see by the answer that the woman is not so interested in her work, it's not necessary for you to keep talking about this, because the main rule that you should remember is you should evoke positive emotions by talking about topics that the woman likes. So if she doesn't like the work, if she works just to earn money, this means that this topic has no real positive emotions, okay? So always when you're asking questions, listen and try to figure out, is this topic associated with really positive emotions? If it is, okay, keep digging and keep giving some comments that make it like playful, like I gave you the example a minute ago. And if you discuss 2 or maybe just 3 topics this way, you will build an emotional connection and trust with women, and at the same time you'll be able to show your interesting, attractive traits regarding this topic. Okay, so now let's discuss the 3 best topics for you to discuss with a woman during a date. So the first topic is about yours and hers passions. And you can just start by asking her, what do you like doing in your free time? And I want you to understand that this question has many positive effects. First of all, you start talking about something that is really emotionally rich, I would say like this, for a woman, yes, that is connected for her with really great emotions. And secondly, this question will help you find better ways to ask a woman to go on a date with you than the regular phrase like, how about getting a coffee together? Because if you ask women to go out with you using this ordinary phrase, you might many times hear something like, oh, I don't know, maybe I will be busy, maybe other day. Why does it happen? Because her level of interest is quite low. Meanwhile, yours is quite high because you see that she's attractive physically and you want her. But she's not so attracted to you because she's not driven by your looks, okay? So it's always a good idea to first ask a woman about her interests. And then when you find some interests, use this to invite her on a date with you. For example, if you find out that she really likes Italian food, you can invite her on a date using this fact. Yes, you might say something like, oh, I know just the place where they cook the pasta that will make you feel better than after an orgasm. And then you just invite her to that place. And it's much better than if you use the coffee invitation, because if she's not so fond of coffee, she will not be so interested in your proposal, okay? So make your offer sound as interesting as it can be. Okay, so let's get back to the first topic. Passions. You've asked a woman about her passions. You may ask more questions to make her dive into the emotions. For example, if she told you that her passion is dancing, you might ask something like, oh, cool, and when did you start dancing? How did you decide to start dancing? What kind of dances do you like the most? Okay, and you should do flirty comments, playful comments, something like, oh yeah, now I understand why you're so good looking, because you like dancing. And listen, when you're sharing your passions, don't just share facts. Paint a picture with your words. Tell her what it feels like, not just what it is. For example, you might say, I love traveling, the smell of the air in the new places, the feeling of freedom, standing at the edge of a cliff and watching the city at night. Oh, that's just amazing and makes me feel alive. This makes her feel your world and opens her up to share her own passions more and more. And even more, this makes her see you as an interesting man because you share your passions, because she can imagine you traveling. And as I said, in order to make a woman think of you as of an interesting man, you need to show your attractive traits and interesting facts about your life. You might think something like, oh, but my life is quite boring. It doesn't matter. The life of 99% of people is really boring. But even if you have a few interesting memories, you can share them in a way that will make a woman think that you're an interesting man. But to do this, you need to learn how to share those facts, how to share those traits that you have. Because if you start bragging, it will lead you nowhere. And if you want to understand how to share facts about yourself in an interesting, playful, attractive way, please read these posts that you can find in my Telegram channel. Because in this post, I tell you using examples how to share facts about yourself in an attractive way. You can find the link to my Telegram channel in the description section and in the first pinned comment. Let's move on. The second topic that you can bring in your conversation with a woman is the topic about unexpected and fun stories. For example, you might ask her a question. Have you ever done something totally random just because it felt right? And you might ask me, how can you come up to this question? You shouldn't just ask it out of nowhere, but you can lead the conversation towards this question. As an example, maybe you told her about your passion, about how you like traveling, and you told her this story about the cliffs and that it felt really right, that this was just an idea that came to your to your mind, and you just decided, okay, I will try it. And after that, you felt like, wow, it's so nice. And after that, you can ask this question: and what about you? Have you done something simultaneously just because it felt right? Or you could ask her, if you could go back to some moment in the past, which moment would it be? So, what you're doing? You are stimulating the woman to think about things to think about moments where she felt really happy, or when she felt some really nice, tender emotions. This is a nostalgic feeling that the woman would like to feel again and again. And when she feels these feelings near you, you know what happens? You start to be associated with this feeling in her subconscious mind. And this is the main secret why a woman can say to you, you know, we know each other for just a few days or weeks, but I feel like I've known you forever. And this is the feeling that you want to build inside a woman, because when she feels this, she starts trusting you, and she starts feeling a big bond with you. And even if it's just the first date and you start flirting, touching, kissing her, after building up this feeling, she will end up like, oh, I feel the spark, I want him. And she will not be like saying you something like, stop, we don't know each other, you're moving too quick, you're being too quick. She will not say that, because in her subconscious mind, the feelings that she feels towards you, she usually feels these feelings towards people she knows well. Okay, so build this emotional connection, and it will really help you get closer sexually with her. Okay, and the third topic that you should really discuss with a woman is childhood memories. And again, you shouldn't bring up this topic out of nowhere. You should just lead it to talking about this. For example, when you ask her about the moment of her life which she would like to relive again, you can after that say something about your childhood, about some moment from your childhood that you would like to go back to again. And you tell her about this moment using the principles that I give you in my Telegram channel, and you can see that she becomes more and more attentive to you, that she smiles, that she looks you in a quite warm way, that she asks you questions. This means that you have built trust, okay? And to build even a more emotional bond, you can then ask her something like, and what was the moment as a kid that felt really emotional to you? Listen to her, ask more questions, make her dive even deeper into this emotion. And for example, when you see that she's looking at you with some tenderness, smiling, you can smile back and say, oh, you know, you remind me of a girl that I really liked at school. You look at me the same way and smile like she did when we were studying, I think it was the 8th grade or something. Why it works? Because it builds warmth, safety, and gives a nostalgic feeling. And if you communicate with a woman this way, you can build a strong emotional connection very quickly without talking about something serious or just sharing facts that doesn't lead you nowhere. And this is the main reason why women lose interest in you, because they just don't feel this kind of connection that they want to feel. Yeah, you might be ready to have sex with them, or you even fall in love with them because they are beautiful, but they need this kind of bond to feel that you're the man that they need, okay? And yes, here's one very important point. Meanwhile, emotional connection is really, really important. There is one more thing that you need to do in order to make her fall in love with you and wants to have sex. You need to create attraction. You start this process by showing some attractive traits that you have, yes? But you need to build it even stronger by flirting and make your conversations gradually more and more hot and sexual. Most men have big troubles when it comes to how to flirt and build sexual context in the conversation with a woman. That's why I cover this topic on my Telegram channel. You can right now see examples of posts where I share techniques, flirting techniques, how to build this arousal inside a woman. I remind you that you can find the link to my Telegram channel in the first pinned comment and in the description section. And I would also advise you to watch this video, because here I explain step by step how to make a woman feel horny and want you sexually. See you there. Bye bye.